Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak to the part of you that's tired of the noise, the part of you that's been searching, striving, pushing, trying to make things happen in your own strength. But what if I told you that the breakthrough you're praying for, the peace you're desperate to feel, the clarity you've been chasing, it's not hiding in the chaos. It's waiting in the silence. Be silent, you will get everything in your life. Not because silence is weakness, but because silence is where strength is born. It's where direction is revealed. It's where God moves in ways noise will never understand. In a world constantly consumed by noise, notifications buzzing, opinions flying, and people speaking just to be heard, there's a rare and powerful strength in silence. It's a discipline not many are willing to practice, but those who do often unlock a deeper level of success, clarity, and purpose in life. Being silent doesn't mean being passive. It means being intentional. It means choosing to listen more than you speak, to observe before reacting, and to reflect before moving. When you silence the world around you, you begin to hear something far more valuable, your inner voice. And it's in that voice where your true power resides. We live in a generation where everyone wants to be first to speak, first to react, first to comment. But the truth is, when you're always talking, you miss what life is trying to show you. Silence creates space, and that space becomes a breeding ground for clarity. You begin to notice patterns. You recognize the distractions that have been robbing you of focus. And most importantly, you start to understand yourself on a deeper level. The most successful people in the world aren't necessarily the loudest in the room. They're often the quietest. Not because they don't have anything to say, but because they know the value of listening first. Think about it. When you're silent, you become a student of life. You start learning things others miss because they're too busy proving themselves. You see opportunities others overlook because their minds are clouded with noise. Silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom in action. It's the choice to not be controlled by emotions or ego. And it's in those quiet moments when the world is still and your mind is calm that real insight is born. Silence also helps you master your thoughts. Have you ever noticed how your mind runs wild when you're constantly surrounded by noise? It's like a storm with no end, but when you step into silence, you slow down the chaos. You begin to notice the negative thoughts you've been entertaining and the lies you've been believing. And in that stillness, you get the power to challenge them. You begin to choose thoughts that serve you rather than sabotage you. That's the first step to transformation. Being aware. And awareness comes through silence. Even spiritually, silence is essential. So many people say, I can't hear from God, but they never stop to listen. They pray and then jump back into the noise of life. But God doesn't compete with chaos. He speaks in the quiet. He whispers truth into your spirit when everything else is turned down. If you want divine direction, you have to create divine space. Silence invites that. It's not just an emotional break, it's a spiritual doorway. The quieter you become, the more you can hear what truly matters. And let's talk about confidence, because silence cultivates it. When you're silent, you're not trying to prove your worth to others. You're not rushing to defend yourself or explain yourself. You're rooted. You understand that not everything needs a reaction. Some things just need your peace. People often mistake silence for weakness, but that's only because they don't understand it. In reality, it takes strength to stay silent when your ego wants to speak. It takes maturity to pause instead of push. That pause, that restraint, that's what gives you an edge in life. Success doesn't always come from speaking louder. It comes from moving smarter. And smart moves are born in moments of reflection, not reaction. When you're silent, you learn to observe people and situations. You become strategic instead of emotional, and that makes you unstoppable. The world rewards those who take the time to understand it. Silence gives you that understanding. You don't have to announce your plans. You don't have to broadcast your every move. Just be silent and let the results do the talking. The energy you waste explaining yourself could be used building something extraordinary. Let the world wonder what you're up to. Let your silence become your strategy. And when the time is right, your progress will speak louder than your words ever could. So if you want clarity, if you want wisdom, if you want to unlock the next level of your life, learn to be silent. Not just with your words, but with your spirit. Practice the discipline of quiet, the art of stillness. It won't always be easy, especially in a world addicted to noise, but it will always be worth it. Because in the silence, you don't lose yourself. And once you find yourself, everything else starts to find you. Discipline is not built in noise. It's not shaped in chaos or confusion. True discipline is forged in silence. When nobody's watching, when there's no applause, and when you choose to do the right thing simply because it's right. In that quiet space where it's just you, your thoughts, your habits, and your willpower, something powerful happens. You become unshakable. You start to develop a kind of strength that doesn't need validation. It's silent, but it's strong. It's the kind of discipline that doesn't just help you survive, it helps you win. Most people think discipline is about force, grinding harder, pushing more, constantly going, but real discipline is about control. It's not chaos, it's calm. It's not noise, it's stillness. Discipline is choosing to be silent. When everything inside you wants to lash out, is choosing to stay focused when your emotions are pulling you in every direction. And that kind of discipline is only born when you've mastered silence. Silence teaches you how to respond instead of react. In the heat of the moment, your emotions scream. They demand attention. But silence creates a gap between stimulus and response. In that gap, you gain power. You gain control. You begin to realize you don't have to react to everything. You don't have to speak every time you feel something. Silence is where you learn to regulate your emotion. And emotional discipline is what separates successful people from those who constantly sabotage their progress. Think about the greatest leaders, thinkers, and achievers throughout history. They weren't known for being impulsive or loud. They were known for being composed, strategic, and disciplined. And that composure came from their ability to remain silent in the face of pressure. They knew how to wait, how to plan, how to listen, and in that silence, they built power. When you're silent, you're not wasting energy trying to impress people. You're not distracted by other people's opinions. You stop living to react and you start living to build. Discipline is about consistency, and consistency requires stillness. You can't build a steady foundation on constant noise. Silence allows you to focus deeply. It trains your mind to resist distractions. And when your mind is trained, your life becomes sharp. Your habits become intentional. Your time becomes sacred. People often underestimate the power of doing the same small things over and over again without making noise about it. But that's what discipline really is. Doing what needs to be done, even when no one is cheering you on, especially when no one is watching. That's the kind of quiet strength that leads to greatness. It's not glamorous, it's not flashy, but it's effective. And here's what most people miss. Silence not only helps you build discipline, it protects it. When you're constantly explaining yourself to others, justifying your decisions, or proving your progress, you expose yourself to doubt and distraction. But when you stay silent about your process, you guard your energy. You protect your mental space. You keep your focus locked in on what matters. That's how you stay consistent. That's how you build momentum, not by talking about it, but by doing it silently, daily, faithfully. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is be quiet and just keep showing up. Keep doing the work, keep praying, keep learning, keep growing without needing the world to clap for you. Because when you stay consistent in silence, results start to get loud. And those results can't be denied. They speak for themselves. That's the kind of discipline that opens doors. That's the kind of discipline that transforms lives. It's easy to be disciplined when things are going well. But silence becomes even more powerful in moments of pain, failure, or disappointment. It takes strength to be silent in struggle. It takes courage to keep showing up when you don't see the results yet. But that silence in the struggle, that quiet commitment, is what builds endurance. And endurance is what separates the finishers from the quitters. The truth is, you don't need to announce your discipline. You don't need to tell everyone about your early mornings, your sacrifices, your vision. Just be silent. Let your actions build the life you want. Let your progress become the proof. In time, the results will say everything your words never had to. Silence trains you to be present. It teaches you to be intentional. It helps you to focus, to think, to plan, and that's what discipline really is, a pattern of intentional choices. It's not a one-time event. It's a lifestyle. And the more silent you are, the more you hear the voice inside that pushes you to keep going, to rise above your excuses, to live on purpose. So embrace the silence. Use it to build your foundation. Use it to master your emotions. Use it to develop the kind of discipline that doesn't need attention, but demands results. Because when you're rooted in discipline, when you're consistent in silence, everything you've been working for begins to move towards you. There is a loud kind of success that everyone sees, the awards, the recognition, the applause. But behind every loud victory, there's always a quiet process, a season of silence, a place where no one's clapping, no one's watching, and no one's validating your efforts. That's where the real work happens. That's where champions are built. Silent work, hidden from the spotlight, away from the crowd. That's what produces loud results. You don't have to shout to the world what you're doing. You just have to be consistent. You just have to keep moving forward quietly and faithfully. In the end, your fruit will speak louder than your voice ever could. We live in a time where everyone wants to be seen. People announce every move they make, what they're working on, who they're connected to, where they're going. But the truth is, the more energy you spend broadcasting your process, the less energy you have to actually build. Real growth requires focus, and focus thrives in silence. It's in the silent seasons that you sharpen your skills. You train your mind, you build endurance. You develop the discipline to keep going when motivation fades. And most importantly, you start to transform from the inside out. Silent work is sacred. It's the place where you become who you were called to be. Not because anyone told you to, but because you chose to. You made the decision to grow in the dark, to build without applause, to grind without needing recognition. And that decision is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. It's easy to work when everyone's watching. It's easy to stay motivated when you're getting praise. But can you be consistent when no one's watching? Can you show up day after day when it feels like no one notices? That's the test. And the ones who pass it are the ones who eventually rise to the top. You don't have to explain your silence. You don't have to justify why you're quiet, why you're not posting, why you're not telling the world your plans. You're building, you're preparing, you're in the lab, doing the unseen work that will one day speak for itself. It might take months, it might take years, but when the results come, they'll be undeniable. They won't need an introduction. They won't need a caption. They'll walk into the room before you even say a word. What you do in silence becomes your strength in public. The hours you spend developing your gift, the mornings you wake up early, the sacrifices you make without telling anyone, those are the investments that produce compound results. You might feel invisible right now, but invisibility is not the same as insignificance. In fact, it's in your invisible seasons that God is doing his deepest work. He's building your character, your endurance, your identity, because if your gift outgrows your character, you'll collapse under the weight of your own success. So let him work in you. Let the process shape you. Stay silent, stay faithful, stay focused. We often get discouraged because we don't see immediate results. We plant seeds and expect overnight harvests. But real growth doesn't work like that. It's slow, it's hidden, it's quiet, but it's happening. Every small action you take in silence is a seed being planted. And if you stay consistent, if you water those seeds with discipline, patience, and faith, they will grow. And one day, those seeds will turn into fruit that feeds generation, not just success, but significance. Not just money, but legacy. The world will tell you that you have to be loud to be relevant, that you have to constantly promote yourself to matter. But the truth is, relevance isn't built by volume, it's built by value. And value is created in the unseen moments. When you focus on becoming excellent in the dark, you'll shine naturally in the light. You won't have to fight for attention. You won't have to beg for platforms. Doors will open for you, not because you shouted the loudest, but because your work demanded it. Silent work requires trust. Trust that your effort is not wasted. Trust that your time is not in vain. Trust that every late night, every early morning, every lonely season is preparing you for something greater. You might not see it yet, but something powerful is happening inside you. You're becoming. And when it's time, the world will see not just what you've done, but who you've become. So don't underestimate the power of being quiet. Don't despise the hidden seasons. They are not punishment. They are preparation. And when your time comes, your results will echo louder than any announcement you could ever make. Keep building in silence because silent work always leads to loud results. There are moments in life when the answers we seek aren't found in another conversation, another opinion, or another distraction. They come when we get quiet, truly quiet. Silence isn't just the absence of noise. It's the presence of something far greater. It's a sacred space where divine direction flows. In silence, you're not just alone. You're aligned with your purpose, your values, and most importantly, with God. If you want to receive everything meant for your life, you have to learn how to be still. Because when the noise fades, the voice of God becomes clear. We often say we want clarity, we want peace, we want direction, but we don't create room for it. Our lives are full of clutter, mental, emotional, and spiritual. We're so used to the volume of the world that we become uncomfortable with quiet. But God doesn't shout over your distractions. He waits. He speaks in stillness. He leads in peace. And it's only when you step into silence that you begin to hear the whisper of wisdom that's been waiting for you all along. Think about it. Some of the most powerful encounters in Scripture happened in silence. Moses heard God's voice on a quiet mountain. Elijah encountered him not in the wind or the fire, but in a gentle whisper. Jesus himself would often withdraw from the crowds to pray in solitude. Why? Because even the Son of God needed silence to reconnect with the Father. And if he needed that space, how much more do we? Silence is more than a spiritual practice. It's a lifestyle of listening. It's choosing to tune out the chaos around you so you can tune in to the clarity within you. In silence, your spirit gets reset. Your mind gets renewed. Your vision gets refined. You stop reacting to life and start receiving insight about it. There's a wisdom that only comes when you wait quietly. When you stop striving to figure everything out and instead trust that God is already working it out. We're often so busy trying to control our circumstances that we miss what God is trying to do through them. But silence teaches you surrender. It reminds you that you're